Today, perhaps more than ever before, society expects companies to use their economic strength for broader social goals and to demonstrate environmental responsibility, support for communities, high standards of ethical behavior, and greater transparency and accountability. One popular way to illustrate what CSR means to business is the concept of the triple bottom line. The economic bottom line has been with each company since inception. The environmental bottom line is increasingly being reported on and referred to. And the third bottom line is the social one and is often treated as synonymous to CSR. CSR may mean very different things depending on which economic sector is in focus, but one thing is clear: a brand has a responsibility to society beyond that of wealth creation. And that is one of the reasons why CSR, that extra that an organization plows back into its host community, has become a key driver and measurement of the brand's reputation. CSR is deemed so important today that there are management consultancies which advise corporations, government agencies, multilateral and non-governmental organizations on the integration of principles of social responsibility and sustainability in order to be operational and profitable in the long term. Onuk-Abimbola is one such management consultant, and she's my guest on today's program. I'm truly delighted. Thank you, Ini, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us. My name is Modele Sharafa Isuf. Here's a quick biography of my guest before we settle down to our conversation. Ini Onuk-Abimbola got a BA in English from the University of Calabar in 1997, an Executive Advanced Diploma in Human Resources Management from the University of Lagos, a Postgraduate Diploma in Human Resources Management from the University of Calabar, a BA in International Relations and Diplomacy from the University of South Africa, an MSc in Management from the Commonwealth Open University, United Kingdom, and a Bachelor of Laws from the University of London. She is also a 2008 Draper Hills Fellow on Democracy and Development at Stanford University, California, and an alumnus of the Harvard Business School Executive Education Program. She started her career in 1994 as an executive assistant at Newswatch Communications Limited. She also worked as a banking officer at MBC International Bank and as Executive Secretary, Women in Management, Business and Public Service, WIMBIS, before setting up Thistle Praxis Consulting Limited, where she's currently lead consultant and CEO. You know, getting people or companies to part with resources for any cause is not the easiest of tasks, but that was the area in which you chose to specialize. Why did you think there was a market for your type of business? And why should companies take CSR seriously?
I came back from Stanford in 2008, and I had come back with this whole idea, whole ideal around how businesses ought to operate within Africa. So when I was in Stanford, we had the opportunity to have a bit of collaborations with certain companies within the Silicon Valley, not necessarily the tech companies, but a lot of the companies. And I had seen how these companies had gotten involved in the social impact aspect of their business, and their interest in public policy and getting involved in governance, and how private sector got involved in things that had to do with the society. And so I just thought, why aren't we doing the same in Africa? Why do we have this belief that government had to do everything for us, that companies were there for just the sole purpose of doing making money for businesses? And notice that the business environment wasn't doing CSR the way it ought to be done. The business environment, and I just saw and still sees CSR as an addendum, something you do because it's just good to do good. They didn't see it as how you do business. It's part of the DNA of how you do business. It's part of how you relate to your supply chain. It's part of how you relate to your employees. It's part of how you relate even with your investors. The total value chain of stakeholders. And for us, it was more like an opportunity. So I saw it as an ideal. I was so convinced that when we start out, people were going to come running and asking us to do this. But it was really tough. It was really tough because, again, as you said, organizations still had to understand why they had to part with money to if they were going to understand how to do CSR better.
So why should companies embrace CSR?
I think that there's been an evolution. We've gone beyond just being something that you do because it's good for business. There is a key understanding around the issues of sustainability. So right now we've gone beyond the issue of corporate social responsibility to corporate sustainability and responsibility. So the conversation is that, first of all, businesses need to do certain things because there is something called the social license to operate, that you exist within a community, that you have consumers within that community, that you have stakeholders within that community, says that there are certain things you need to do to be seen to be working with the stakeholders. So the whole concept has been more of how do we remain in business? How do we ensure that our stakeholders also help us to remain in business? So I think that is the key answer to that question, why you have to do CSR. So it's just beyond philanthropy because I think the understanding we still have in Nigeria, it's more of doing charity causes and doing things that go around philanthropy, so painting schools and putting your name on those schools, so giving books and without a needs assessment to say, do this community need books, or do they need a library, or do they need a hospital? So corporate sustainability is a deeper form of how to ensure that businesses remain in business, even dealing with their stakeholders.
So what are the key elements of CSR that ensure profitability and tangible impact?
It's first of all to ask, what's the return on investment in whatever it is that I'm doing? And so return on investment is not just about the money that comes back to you. It's about the branding issues. It's about the reputation issues. And these all add up to the kind of business that you do and whether people want to come back and do business with you. So at the end of the day, the value add for any organization, it's really around the key elements. So first of all, stakeholder issues. Understanding what your stakeholder concerns are, engaging your stakeholders at any given point in time. And then, of course, how you want to do your business. So whether you're selling products or you're giving services, how do you want to do your business and how do you want your business to be recognized? I think for me, these are the key elements.